Hello everyone, my name's Brian, that's my brother Adam, and we are the Factional Fight Brothers. Today we are back in our labyrinth, and we are excited to get to decorating. At the same time, Wurm just released a bombshell of an announcement, and we can't wait to just talk about what's going on. Let's get started. Alright, we're back. Thank you everyone for joining us. How are you doing, Adam?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good.
It's been a little while. We are, we say this every week, but we're completely pretty much done the labyrinth, except for all we can think of to do now is fill it up with furniture, essentially, like decorate the labyrinth. And we do have a bunch of buildings that we want to do to decorate, and so what we were doing is we picked one or two, and we have a whole bunch of stuff that we'd like to lay out. We picked one of the important ones that we would like to do, and we have a couple topics that we would like to talk about. And then all of a sudden Wurm released a news article, and we're like, how are we going to fit this in? By the time you're watching this, more than likely most of the stuff that they talked about in the news will be in the game. Now, in this case, they talked about, from nowhere, they said we're going to be able to do to place items in the game in a completely more natural way than what we've been used to. And it's coming like next week. Not soon enough. This is going to be like our last video where we're still placing items the old way. But I don't know, maybe you can talk about what exactly they're going to do.
Yeah, I can't wait till this comes in because it's going to make our job a whole lot easier decorating this place. But it seems as though what they're going to do is add a way to place items in the game by it'll sort of be attached to your mouse cursor, and you can sort of drag it around and see kind of a ghost item of where it's going to be, and then you click it and it'll land exactly where you want to be, where you want it to be. So very natural way of placing items in the game. I know that other games have a very similar way of adding items. I know EverQuest 2 kind of had a similar, and Vanguard as well had a similar system of placing items. So I'm looking so forward to this edition. It's going to make our job so much easier.
I can't remember which video it was that we actually brought up that we wanted something like this in the game.
Yeah.
And because I remember, like, I had my house in Vanguard that I created. I remember placing items, and it was so natural, where you just move the mouse wheel and the items would rotate, and then you would just kind of find a nice place on the ground and you just click,
right,
and there it goes. And
right.
I am
currently
hoping I'm hoping that this is a precursor to placing items on tables.
It's definitely going to make things a lot easier to put items onto tables. I think that if you have this ability to like move your cursor around and have the item like hovering there, you could get it exactly where you want it to.
I don't know, I'm hoping for items on tables, items on chairs, items on walls, items on ceilings,
items on anything, like anywhere, like just place, just items on beds, just stack
beds, yes,
crates on top of each other.
Stacking crates on top of each other. That would be so cool. I wonder if they do have actually do that.
Crate racks already, so
let's just have both. How about a crate rack on top of a crate rack, or a crate rack on top of another, like a barrel rack or something?
Yeah,
you could make your workshop look so cool. All right, so this room I kind of would like. I guess we're gonna do the loom in this room. So what does a loom consist of while you start decorating?
Well, let's see here.
I haven't built a loom in a long time.
I know.
Floor
Been a
loom.
while. I think
Plank,
you're the one to do it.
small nails.
Right.
Again, 2 other planks, 10 string cloth, and 10 shafts. That's actually not that much.
So once again, planks are one of those items that we've used up every single last one of our planks. And
I got
so I think we're
1.
gonna have to make some planks here.
All right, you want to
What
make
the
planks, or
Sure.
do you
What
want to
wood
make the
type would we
string of
like?
cloth?
Now
What
that
are
wood
our
types are going to
options?
become a thing again.
Yes,
Right.
I
We have
say.
maple, fir, linden, pine, chestnut.
I wonder what fir or chestnut would look like.
Right, because these are the new ones.
Yeah, they've never
And,
had.
and same with linden.
Let's just do fir wood because our place is surrounded by
Okay.
fir trees, so it would make sense.
Okay, so I'll make some fir wood planks.
As well as 10 shafts. Do we have shafts?
We do not.
All right.
So I'll make some shafts.
You make shafts. I'll make the. Do we have cotton? We do have cotton. I'll take a bunch of cotton. Oh, where did that go? There it is. I already had a bunch of cotton. And I will make the string of cloth.
Can't wait for these changes. I mean, the moment I saw that update that we're gonna get these placement the placing the items more dynamically, I immediately thought to a previous conversation that we had with Retro regarding placing items on top of items or placing items on tables and that sort of thing.
Do you remember what he was saying?
He was saying something about how there was already some things put in place to move that process along. For example, I think beehives are one of the items that he mentioned. In order to get beehives to position themselves exactly where they needed to be, they needed to somehow get them to, add some code that allowed beehives to sort of be attached to trees at some height.
Yeah, I remember that. And he was basically saying in order to accomplish that, they had to build the code that he thought could basically be used to hang things on walls or hang things on ceilings.
Right. And then this seemed to give another step in that direction, that now that you can place items just by hovering them on a mouse cursor or whatever, because that would give a more natural way of placing items, let's say on walls or on tables and things like that. Because like before, the way that you could place items now currently, I can't see how you could possibly get it to go on top of a table and positioned exactly where you want it to be.
That'd be
this
really
is
tough, right?
Oh yeah, this is
Now,
definitely a step in the right direction.
Now, knowing that this is what they're going to do, would you want it to replace the current way, or would you want them to add it in addition to the current way?
Oh, this is definitely one of those ones that I want it to replace completely. I don't think that anybody would argue that the current way of placing items is superior in any way to the other one.
Now, we don't know exactly how it will work. We will know very shortly. But I'm guessing, so let's say you place an item. Okay. So let's think of the future. Okay, so we build a table and we're placing an item on the table, let's say. Okay. When something like this ever comes. And we place that item down and we go, whoops, it's like a little bit off. I just want to move it a little bit. In the current way, you can do that.
Right, you can just like push it or nudge it.
Push it a little. This way, let's say you had to right click it, pick it up again, and then in your inventory right click it and say place again and then place it. Or would there be a way to just right click it and say like replace, and then it would just appear on your cursor where it was, and then you can just slightly move it or rotate it?
That's how I would imagine that it should be anyway. That there should be an option to reposition it And when you click that option, it should attach to your mouse cursor again, and you can just like reposition it slightly and click where you want it.
I hope that's how it is.
Mm-hmm.
So that wasn't even like a debate at all. You're just like, get rid of the old system.
Yeah, totally.
Like this completely satisfies everything that you would want.
Absolutely.
Now,
Absolutely.
is there any
Might
ways? Think of it this way.
Yeah.
You know how right now we place items, and just like you did with the tapestry, you push it into the wall.
Right.
How would
Right.
that work?
Huh. That's a good question. Pushing things into the wall. I guess it would just have to.
Would it be smart enough to know that the cursor went up to this point on the screen, and that point is pretty much against the wall, and it wouldn't go any further even if you moved the mouse further across the wall? So it would like hit the line, and that
Right.
line just happens to be within the wall.
I suppose tapestries currently can go in the position I just pushed it in. And if you tried to push it again, it would just tell you the wall's in the way.
Yeah.
So it would have to know how far the tapestry is allowed to go, and then mouse cursor should give you that range of motion. You should be able to get it into the wall like this. Because let's face it, the tapestry looks amazing when it's up in, like when the stand is in the wall. It makes it look like it's hanging.
That's true.
But who knows? Maybe they'll add something that allows you to actually hang tapestries onto walls.
That would be awesome. Tapestries, banners, being able to like raise it upwards.
Right. Especially in rooms like this where there's a high ceiling and you can put things on walls that are up high. Like I'm imagining those tall banners that are really tall and long, and you can have it covering like 2 heights worth of a wall. But if you want it up high, in Linton, we positioned some tall banners up on the 3rd floor, but the way we had to do it was we had to create a platform for them up high and push them outwards so that they're facing on the outside of the wall.
That's true.
It'd be nice if we could just hang them.
That caused some problems with the fact that, and I can't remember if it caused problems. Stuff inside of a building can only be seen so far.
Right. Right.
Here's the floor loom.
Totally other issue. So I think that in the next episode that we do, we're going to be spending a lot of time with this new system, with the new,
sure.
Yeah, placing items and showing that off, and
we'll have no more questions. We'll have all the answers. That's what we're hoping for.
In hopes, yeah. Not to mention the other announcements that they've made, and they've made these like a while ago, so we've known they've been coming, but the fact that they're coming this week is kind of insane, and that's how you can dye specific parts of item.
Which one are you more looking forward to? The dyeing of specific parts of an item, or the new wood textures?
Oh, that's a close one. That's hard to say. I'm looking forward to both of them. I think, though, I'm looking more forward to the dyeing of items. And the reason is because it's going to add so much more richness to this game. It's going to make room that is completely unique. Because currently the way it is, like let's say I go and try to design like a bedroom, quote unquote bedroom. Like there's not that much variation in what a bedroom could look like currently, because you're gonna build a wardrobe, a bedside table, a bed, chairs, some, I don't know, whatever it is, like a rug, a coffer, or whatever they're called.
Basically
but
what we're
it's almost like
here.
Yeah, but I feel like everybody would build the same kind of items, and they're all looking the same because the wood types don't make a difference currently, and you can't really dye half of the items that I'm mentioning here. Actually, more than half of the items. So everybody's bedroom is going to look pretty much the same. But with this new dyeing system and also the wood types being added back, is going to create a lot more customizability so that your bedroom will not look the same as everybody else's bedroom. And that's a big deal in this game.
That is kind of crazy. Yeah, well, the thing is, okay, I can't remember how many episodes ago it was, and we were talking about the wood announcement. They were bringing back wood textures, but not a lot was known about it. And we basically posed the question of how many items would need to be implemented with the new wood texture for you to be satisfied. And I believe you're like, yeah, it would have to be at least what was there before, with something like
Right.
that. And then they make the announcement, and they essentially said, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's almost everything. Like,
Right.
almost. I'm not sure if it is everything. I don't know, because we haven't seen it all, but it is so much. It's like everything that was, and so much more.
Yeah, and the fact that it's not that they're doing it in a way that makes it easy to add more. So like for example, they've added a whole bunch of new trees. So they are able to add more textures to the wood type so
Than
that
there
they
ever
can
was.
accommodate all the new trees. Yeah. Which is
Like,
great. Great, great,
how
great.
about signs? I don't think there was any signs in any of those pictures.
Right. That's a
There
good
wasn't
question.
any textures on signs previously, but things that didn't have textures for sure before, like uh, large carts, wagons weren't even around at the time,
Mhm.
and they've shown that those are going to have different textures.
Right.
They, I don't know if these looms are going to have, or I don't know. There was a lot of things that we didn't see.
Well, by the sounds of it, it sounds like whatever isn't yet implemented will have the capability of being implemented.
Oh, you know what? Talking about our previous topic, talking about moving items, I just
Okay.
remembered that Retro made a post saying that if the item is not in your inventory, you cannot replace it. You cannot
What do you mean?
position it. You
What do you mean
cannot
by
right
that?
click an item in the game and reposition it with the mouse.
Oh, okay.
So, like, after you place an item down, it's like you have to pick it up again
Oh,
to
how
place it
did you?
back down.
When did you hear that?
Somewhere on the post, he said it.
Oh, okay.
Now that sucks, and he was responding to somebody. Maybe I kind of remember him saying like, "This does not include forges because forges do not get put into your inventory."
Right, right. Like, for example, like why wouldn't it allow you to reposition it if half the items aren't going to be able to be brought into your inventory?
I don't know. Like, I feel with this loom, we just made this loom, and now we still have to right click or create a bind and say push or push gently or.
Right. So it's still going to have that old
Now I
system.
wonder if it's because they're trying to do more realism, like
Okay.
in the sense that the items that you're placing down you can physically like hold in your hand and then you're placing it, whereas this is more like you are pushing it. It's too big to pick up.
I
So
don't
you're
know.
kind of
I
giving
feel
it
like
a nudge or something.
it would give it more realism if it didn't have to come back into your inventory. I feel because, there's an item in front of you and you want to move it. You don't necessarily have to put it into your pocket first before moving it. Like, you should just be able to
Well,
push.
how about the loom? How would you handle that?
Yeah, like I should be able to. I don't know. I feel like it. This whole system of replacing items
I
should
mean,
replace the old.
you want it to replace, and
I
I
think it
think
should.
eventually it should replace it as well. I think
Mhm.
it would be a lot better. And I feel like if they wanted to, let's say, keep the realism of being able to push and pull, maybe you should be able to have, instead of like being all sorts of different push pull and all the. How many do we even have? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 actions we could do.
Right.
How about like right click and grab or something where like you're holding the item, and then you can use your cursors or whatever to move it forward and back, and you're moving it slowly forward and back. And then while you're doing that, you could have the mouse cursor or the mouse wheel would still be able to rotate it, and you should have the ability to, let's say, hold down Alt or Control, and that would make you move it slower or faster.
Okay.
Using
I like
different amounts of stamina.
Okay. So moving it, you would like to connect that to stamina.
It's like instead of like picking it up and making it feel like you're moving it with the cursor, make it still feel like your character is the thing that's moving it.
Mm-hmm. I guess so. I mean, I'd be
for
okay
the
with
items.
that.
And that would be for the items that are you cannot place in your inventory or pick up. They're too big.
I mean, currently moving items does take stamina, so I think it would make sense that if it continued to use stamina.
Yeah, and I think that would make sense to remove this old system entirely.
Mm-hmm.
I hope, anyway. So that's one of the things that we wanted to make. The second thing we want to make is the wheel.
I'm currently making a coffer just for decoration over there. But yes, the what is it? Not it's a spinning wheel.
The spinning wheel. So let's use this, and I'm gonna call spinning wheel.
I don't know if you want to reveal why we're making these items in here.
This room's kind of important. It's gonna have some clues. Going through the labyrinth, I think we realized that a clue was necessary.
Here's
to
the
be
thing
put into
that
it.
this after I don't know if we mentioned, but we created a video that's like sort of like a walkthrough where I had no idea how to solve this labyrinth. So I walked into this labyrinth with a brand new, like another tune, just as anybody else would, and I just sort of like tried to beat it, and it went pretty good. What I
did
found
really
though
well.
was that there's a lot of areas that are like dead end. Like it leads you and like you just dead end. What I think we're planning is that a lot of these dead ends or a lot of these like places that don't go anywhere will have a clue or something that will allow you to sort of get a sense of what you're supposed to do if you get to one of these dead ends.
I don't know, I found that you went you went to a point, and in the labyrinth you were getting through it pretty well, and then you got into a room and you're just like, whoa, this must be a dead end, like this is odd, and it wasn't a dead end, by the way. And then so you like went back, and I realized, okay, maybe we needed something that would have gave you a clue to indicate that it wasn't a dead end.
Right.
And that's kind of what we're doing right here.
Right.
Let's see. Oops. Spinning wheel. There you go. That would have been painful if I didn't do that properly. Okay, did that place on the ground? It did. Let's go like that. What do I need? 3 planks. 1 shaft. Okay, if it's just 1 shaft.
See, there was this older video that we made where I mentioned something about deed design or building designs, and my recommendation at the time was to make small rooms. If you're making even if you're building a big castle, that it's more ideal to make smaller rooms, because like if you take a look at this area over here, just trying to decorate this to make it look like a bedroom. Like it's only like literally a 2x3 space, not even a 2x3 space, and yet trying to decorate it to make it look like a bedroom is kind of difficult because it's just like a huge area.
So I took Adam's advice. I flushed it down the toilet. And then I made these huge, humongous rooms that don't really need to be that big. Do you have?
Well,
you don't happen to have a tar, do you?
tar. No, you need tar for that?
We need one more tar.
Tar, okay. I can take a horse, ride it over to the tar patch.
Actually, we need a couple more. No, one more.
Okay.
It's too little material. Yeah.
Here's one thing that's interesting. I can't seem to unhitch the far horses. You know how when you're driving a cart, you can right click one of the horses and unhitch them.
I think you have to unhitch. Can you?
Sometimes sometimes I'll just reorient the wagon, like just turn it left or right, and then I'll be able to. But in some circumstances, I'm not able to unhitch the far horses, and so I don't know. I wonder if that's something that needs to be looked at.
Yeah, it's interesting. I did not realize you can unhitch only one animal.
Yeah. You have to be embarked on the wagon.
Oh. So maybe that's why. It's too far.
Although if I had my wish,
You're too far away from it. I see.
I would wish to be able to unhitch individual animals even if you're standing on the ground next to it.
That would be ideal. While you're doing that, I'm gonna make some cloth.
Okay.
Do I still have the wool, the cotton? Yes, I do.
I put some more cotton in the way.
I'm gonna combine a bunch of it.
Okay.
In fact, I probably need more. And you said you put some in here already, so
yeah,
I'll find it here. I'll take about 5.
So I don't know if we want to get started talking on about what we wanted to talk about on this episode before that
all
news
of
announcement.
that and the wood and and the different dyes that you can dye certain parts of everything, and the announcement that they're going to make that test client, the preview client they're calling it officially,
right?
And that's coming out next week, and all this stuff. Was it that all of this stuff's coming to the preview client?
I don't think so. I think all this stuff is coming to the regular client.
Huh. So it's just it's all coming at once, and it's kind of interesting that there wasn't a lot of notification. What do you feel about that?
It's interesting because it's been the way that of Wurm that they'll announce something and then they'll release it like really soon after. This has happened a bunch of times in the recent update, where it's like, hey, this new thing we're working on is happening and it's coming out in 5 days from now. So yeah,
which I guess is great for excitement, I must say.
Right. It's great for excitement. I don't think it would be terrible if there was more time between the announcement and the implementation of it. I think that if everything goes smoothly, it's ideal to have it this way. So they announce it, it comes into the game, and it works perfectly. But I think that the track record is not perfect on that front, in that they would announce something, they would release it a few days later, and then there's some issue, some bug or some.
With the preview client now, I think that's the plan, right?
Right.
Release, like announce something on the news, say it's coming to the preview client. Then people join the preview client within the week. They get to test it. All the bugs get worked out, and then later it gets added to the real game.
Right. And I don't think that people would complain if it took, a few weeks, maybe a month between the announcement and the implementation into the game. I don't think that that's an unreasonable time
There,
frame.
there's still a limit, though, right? More than a month, you probably want to hold back.
Right, right. There definitely is some balance that you have to. And I know that they're well aware of this. I know Retro's mentioned this a few times. You don't want to announce something too early because then people start complaining that's like not coming in. Like, for example, Bridges,
Yeah.
where there was that. I don't know if it was an official mention, but Rolf had mentioned that Bridges will be in by the end of the year, and that was like in 2006.
Yeah, maybe that decade of time might have stopped people from enjoying that, getting into the
Right.
game. Anyway, so 30 minutes in, finally, let's get around to what we actually planned this episode to be about.
Yeah.
And maybe just this one topic. And at the time, you had told me about that someone mentioned this on the forums. And that was the flash sale of gold.
Yes.
I guess somebody brought it up. Maybe you can tell us all about what that means.
Right. So somebody had suggested that Wurm do some kind of sale on their gold. Like, I don't think in the entire time that we've been playing, or the entire time of the game, I don't think there's been any decrease in price on silver in this, like from the shop. I mean,
No,
it's
there was
always
never a
been
sale.
it's always been like 160 euro for 1 gold.
It was cheaper before they raised the price, but yeah, it's always been consistent.
Did they raise the price of gold though?
I feel like they did.
I thought that they had raised the price of premium only.
I cannot remember or recall.
Although you could be right. Actually, you could be right that it used to be 100 euro and then they raised it to 160. Although I don't know. That's possible. Now there was an addition to the way that you can buy gold. They added, is it pronounced Zola or Zala or Zala, whatever?
Yeah, I can't remember the name of that.
And for some
But yes.
reason, it depends on where you live, but in some places in the world, it's a little bit cheaper to buy gold that way. But anyway, it's been pretty consistent in terms of its price. And somebody suggested that, Wurm do kind of like what you see these mobile games doing, where there's like every so often there's like a flash sale, and all of a sudden everything is 50% off, or even however much off.
Mm-hmm. And I guess,
and I guess
then they wanted to have comments and debate on that on the forums.
Yeah.
What was the consensus on the forums, at least? Not like what did you think?
Right.
How
I think
were
that
people taking it?
I think that the consensus was that it's not a great idea. And I mean, I can kind of understand. I can see where people are coming from in terms of like,
Okay.
saying it's not a great idea, because this game has a big dependency on the in-game economy. And the in-game economy is based off of the fact that silver has some kind of value that people put on a currency. In the same way like people put value on Bitcoin, for example. And that if you were to put sales on this currency, that it would somehow devalue that currency. Okay, I'm going to be making some carpets here.
Yeah, I feel like I don't have enough skill. Can you make 2 mediums?
2 mediums. Let's see.
Now, I get that does make sense if people consider it a currency and not just like an in-game, not just a game's currency, but like real life currency that holds value. But is that better for the game to not do that? Wouldn't it be better for the game to have people purchase this money on sale so that they have more money in the game to provide to more players when new players come in we're more relaxed with how much we can provide them for their services.
It's an interesting thought. Um,
Because what's the point of holding back? Like, what's the point of saying now, all the rich people are hoarding their riches, and these players, we're not, like, we'll help them, but we won't provide them with enough to feel happy that they're in this game, and like to provide them enough so that they feel comfortable and understand that this game, like what this game means to all of us.
like, what do you mean by provide them enough?
I don't know. Like, you want to provide them money for their services, but some people don't because they don't have a lot of money to provide at all.
Right. I think that,
You'd have more encounters of people.
like, if they did a flash sale, then more people would buy.
Yeah. Or do you think more
during
people would
those
just
sales.
hoard more of their money?
Here's the thing, that if they do a flash sale, let's all of a sudden, let's just say, for sake of argument, that Wurm says this weekend gold is half price, all silver is half price.
Yeah.
So instead of being 160 euro, it's now 80 euro for a gold.
Uh-huh.
The problem with this is that all of a sudden, then you're like, there's going to be a great influx. People are going to buy gold from the Wurm shop.
So there'll
The
be an
game is
influx
going to
of
get a
money.
massive influx of money, which is
Yeah.
great. Short term, great for the game and great for everything.
Mhm.
More people in game will have coin to be spending. People will be able to sell their stuff much easier, and it will seem like it's like a great thing going on. There is a downside, though, and the downside will happen over a longer term, and that is the value of the gold is going to go down. Like, the value of each silver is going to go down because there's more of it, and it was cheaper to begin with. And what's going to end up happening is that items, let's say you sell bricks currently for 2 silver for every 1,000.
Mhm.
Well, now people are going to be wanting, because there's more gold available, more silver available in the pool of silver, people are going to be wanting more silver for that amount because each silver is now worth half as much. And maybe you might not say that it's half as much because sure, that one weekend was half as much, but the thing is that people are going to wait for the next sale before buying gold again. Nobody's going to buy it at full price if there's the potential that it's going to go on sale for half price. And if Wurm doesn't follow through with another sale, people aren't going to all of a sudden just buy gold at full price. People are going to just not buy gold anymore. So
Wouldn't that even out?
I don't know. Like, I think that it would just make it so that people wouldn't. I don't know if it'll even out, like, in the sense that I feel that people just wouldn't buy gold anymore
Really?
unless it was on sale. Right? You give them a taste for the gold is now only 80 euro for one gold, and nobody's going to want to pay 160 for one gold anymore.
So
Right?
you
They're gonna just
feel,
wait for the next game, next
yes.
sale.
So you feel there'll be this giant influx of gold. Everybody will say, "Wow, this is great for the game," and money will be flying. People will be increasing their deeds and creating like all sorts of stuff. And then all of a sudden, all this money will just get depleted.
Yes.
And then there will be no money again, and
Right.
people will be even more reluctant at that point to purchase gold.
Right. More reluctant to buy gold, exactly. And then not
So-
only would they be more reluctant to buy gold, is that there's the whole issue of gold sellers, people who are selling gold
Yeah.
back to the players. All of a sudden, they're not going to be able to sell their gold for nearly as much as they are now. They're going to have to beat the sale price of Wurm, so all of that's going to go down as well.
Do you think they would stop selling gold?
I don't know. I don't think they'll stop. I don't think there's any reason to say that they would stop, but it would definitely be a lot less money.
push this.
So my feeling is that over the long term, it's going to be detrimental to the game. Part of the appeal of Wurm to a lot of people is the value that currency has. That you can come into this game with nothing, and you can put in a lot of hard work and sell your stuff and gain value, and that gain currency, and then that currency can be translated back into real life money. A lot of people play that game,
Yeah.
and there's a huge appeal to that. And I think that if you start doing sales, this is going to just disrupt that whole process and that appeal. And over the long term, you're going to lose people because of this. You're going to lose, not only you're going to lose people, but you're going to lose the actual, selling of gold on their website. People are just going to be waiting for those sales to come, and you're going to be making less money on each gold that you sell.
So does it look like I'm sitting on this chair?
Let's see. You are sitting on this chair, yeah.
And that I'm like a good distance away. Am I too far away?
I don't know. I think that the spinning wheel is sort of to your side. Is that how it's supposed to be? I always thought that you have to sort of be on this side. Spinning.
Like right here?
Yeah, like putting the chair there, exactly.
Okay.
Do we need any more carpets? Should I just make a bunch of different color carpets?
Yeah, make a bunch of different colors ones. That would be good.
Make a large one now.
There's no more. There might have never been like unfinished carpets. I don't think there was ever.
No.
Did this have animation? I can't remember now.
It does.
Yeah,
I think the spinning wheel actually turns. Oh, there's a large one. I don't know if you want to place these places.
All right.
What is this? Is this small one red? Oh,
sure.
Red.
Let's put this over here somewhere. Nice and colorful. Forgot I got rid of my dropping. There, maybe a bit closer. All right.
The other thing to consider with this whole money issue is that if the money sinks in the game, like for example deed costs and trader prices and places where the money sinks back into the game, if those values stay the same, then you're effectively causing those items to be worth less.
Okay.
Right? Like,
okay. That's a good
for
point.
example, like a trader costs 50 silver off of a trader contract costs 50 silver. Or let's just use a deed settlement token. Like a deed settlement costs 10. I don't know. Actually, this is a bad example. What's a good example? What's a good item that people would buy off of a trader or
Magic chest?
Okay, good. That's a good item. So a magic chest, 50 silver. Or if you have your own trader, you can drain and it'll be like 37 half silver. But let's just use the 50 silver for an example. So that 50 silver has a real value in real life, like a monetary value. The moment you cut put a sale on gold, and this gold now is worth less, cost you less to buy it, all of a sudden that 50 silver is now half as much money to you as a buyer. It's like that 50 silver used to cost you 50 euros, but now it only costs you 25 euros. That magic chest effectively got cut in half in terms of its price or its value to you. Then if you were to go to sell that magic chest now has less value to the next person, right? If everything in the game follows suit, so everything now has less value, then people will have there's like less attachment to them. like there's a reason why people value those magic chests, is because it's so there's like real money attached to that. And the moment that
And
things
they're
start
also,
devaluing in the game, then people stop, having that attachment to them.
it's also the fact that they're very, very coveted.
Right. They have good use.
Yeah, huge amount of use. Oh, that is a good point. And I was almost thinking when you were saying traders, uh, you know how with traders you can get money back from them,
Right.
right? Now, that money that you get from them is directly related to the money that goes into the game in like deeds and what other things?
Right. Just any a trader
Yeah.
items, yeah.
So if more money was to be put into the game because of all these flash sales, more money would be then given back to people
I see.
in general, which would make it even, I don't know, I guess that would exacerbate the issue, make the money even worth less.
I'm not sure if that's going to exacerbate it. I think it'll just keep it just as exasperated as it
But
was.
what if they remove the ability to get money from a trader,
Right.
but have flash sales?
But what about getting money from selling to a token or from foraging or those sorts of, like you're saying, get rid of all that?
I would say just getting rid of, because getting money from the trader can potentially, I mean, before lead to a lot of gain. I don't
Right.
know how much gain it is now. Probably not that much.
Nowadays it's nothing. Nothing.
Yeah.
From what I understand. You might get 5 silver per month at most if you're doing everything in your possible power
I
to
mean,
get as much as you can.
there was a lot of argument before saying that traders are bad because they're kind of taking money into the game without paying for it, I guess. Eventually,
Right.
like you would pay for a trader, you'd pay this much money, and then you would make so much money with the trader every month that all of a sudden you were never paying the devs for any, like you weren't giving them any money ever.
Right. Right. You can just get enough silver from the
So
trader to pay premium on all your tunes and that sort of stuff. Yeah.
so this way would force players to buy from the devs, support them, and there
But
would
would
still
it?
be that influx of money because of the flash sale.
I don't know. You would definitely, as I said, you would be definitely in the short term giving money to the game. Like the game would benefit from a flash sale in that a whole bunch of people would buy gold that one time
Okay,
that there's a
what
sale.
is the percent that you would say is enough to make you want to buy gold for that percentage off, but not enough to make you feel like you're cheated if you bought it full price? Would that be 20%? You'd be like 20% off. Wow, I save $30 or $40. But then later you're thinking, well, it was only 20% off. I'm still okay with buying gold at regular price. Or if you throw something else in, you could say it was only 20% off. Now buying from this person instead of the it would still be okay. And the question now I have is, did Adam's internet freeze? No, there you are.
You're right.
You're just in a deep, deep thought.
Nope, my internet is going wonky there, but yeah. So how much would it take for me to from the game? Which is a loaded question because I would normally buy money from the game thing. So I'm in the position where any sale would be like, I would want any sale because it would just mean that the silver that I would normally buy would just cost less.
All right, so there's percentage, and you're like, wow, there's a sale. It's 15% off. I'm gonna buy it.
Yeah, as a consumer, I totally would love it. But as a player of this game, I kind of foresee that by doing these sorts of things, it would cause disruption in the economy to the point where people would stop playing.
Or but then later you would be like, well, it was only 15%. So I'd still be okay with buying it full price.
Right, but
if I needed it.
The other issue is that there are gold sellers in this game where you can already buy gold for €100 or even less than €100, which is already closing in on, it's probably like a 40% sale, pretty much. The reason why that is there, though, is that, money comes into the game and it flops around from person to person. And there are people who are really good at accumulating that gold. And so that they can sell it for real life money, even though they haven't, purchased it. So the issue that I see happening, if they do decide to, let's say, all of a sudden, you could buy a gold for €100 off the shop. Everybody's going to buy. There's going to be a ton of people who buy a massive influx of gold into the game. And it's going to get to the point where people aren't going to be buying from other people anymore, unless those people drastically lower their prices. Because everybody's just going to be waiting for the next sale to buy it for 100 instead of buying from another person for 100.
So if it was a sale, but still more than 100, more than what people sell for, you would be okay.
Yeah. It's still going to drop the prices. Still going to drop the prices that people are going to sell it for. Because there's a reason why people sell it for 100 and not, let's say, 120. And that's just because of supply and demand.
Even with these short-lived flash sales.
The problem that I see with the short-lived flash sales is that people are just going to have the mentality of waiting for the next sale.
Or they will be like, I'm not going to wait for the next sale, I need the money now. And they end up going with a person that's still selling it for less than it was to just buy with the sale.
Maybe.
That would balance it out. Because people won't wait. People will just buy it. They need it now. They're not just going to wait. They need that money to support themselves in the game for whatever reason that they need the money for. I feel like there could be a good balance.
Okay.
I just don't know what it is. I mean, the sale has got to be more than what players are selling it for, less than what is currently being sold for, but enough of a sale that people would still want to buy it, because in the end, people buying it from the devs is better than people not buying it from the devs.
You mean buying it from other people?
Yeah. Just in the sense that it's better to get that influx of money on that weekend than it was not to get that influx of money on the weekend. And then just never getting the influx of money on the weekend over like a year or 2 years. I mean, only they have their numbers. They can say,
Right.
well, this year we made such and such amount of money on whatever gold sales. If they were to have flash sales, yeah, some more money would make into the game, but they would sell more, that in the end they would make more money that year. And they need to find the balance of how much money is too much in the economy here. Or you can balance it out by, let's say, adding more things to traders, or doing more that makes you want to purchase stuff within the game.
You're right in that they only have only they have the numbers. They would have to be the ones who are able to, and it's not an easy job, but you'd have to figure out with some projection the effect of lowering or giving a sale, let's say. I agree that if they do put more sinks into the game, more vanity items, more things on traders, that would mitigate the issue, because you would have a bunch of people wanting to get gold in order to spend it back into the game.
For sure.
So that could be something that goes into conjunction, and you know, it would take a genius to work through the numbers and figure out the optimal situation, the optimal plan of action, and it would probably be a multi-pronged approach where they put on a sale and they put items on traders, and they somehow put a massive marketing campaign to increase their players. I don't know. There would have to be a bunch of stuff happening at the same time in order for it to be a successful event.
But it can be done.
Could be done.
And so they have to say, is it worth the risk? Is it worth, is the way that the game's going right now, you know, profitable and good enough where we don't need to do anything? Or should we make the risk of trying to earn a bit more money to get into the game and get some kind of influx of hopefully more participation within the game and more community building by having the extra bit of cash within the money, and then trying to find that win-win balance for the players and for the devs. You never know.
One thing's for sure is that if they do put on a sale, I'd definitely be buying.
So there you go.
And I know lots of others will.
Put on a sale and Adam will definitely be buying money. And I think that's pretty much where we should leave it. It's been almost an hour.
Has it been?
Yeah. We've decorated almost 2 rooms. Oh, you're just making a nice bookshelf.
Yeah, I was thinking of a wardrobe as well.
Yeah, so we'll make a bookshelf, almost 2 rooms. But the main thing is that we managed to get the loom, we managed to get the spinning wheel, and the clue is pretty much laid out. I just might need a sign here or something to explain it. Yeah. Other than that, I don't want to overburden each room with tons of items, or else we're going to get into a situation like Autumn Twilight where people could barely walk if they had a slow machine.
Right.
They're just becoming, there's like so many items that it's just so laggy. But this is great. I actually like the way that it looks compared that it's been a very long time where this room has been empty.
Right.
Like a very long time.
You know, I made a bookshelf because I don't have the skill to make a wardrobe. Maybe you can make a wardrobe.
Okay, I'll make a wardrobe. I'll make a wardrobe after we stop. We have, so I don't know. What do you guys think? Should Wurm have flash sales? Should we have some kind of discount on gold every now and then? I don't know. Let us know in the comments, and we'll see you guys on the next episode. Take care, everyone.